All right, everyone. Welcome to our first ever sit down podcast.
Wow.
For Hope City.
Feels crazy.
What, 8 years? We've never done
9 years.
9 years.
9 years.
17. This is incredible. I was, when you texted me, I was a little nervous because I didn't know what this was going to be.
Now. Exactly.
But, we've been in a sermon series titled
Let's Talk About
Let's Talk About It. So we had everybody submit questions.
Yeah, that's right.
In a link, and nothing was off limits.
No. You guys asked some great questions too, by the way.
Kids asked questions.
Yeah, we had a lot of questions.
What was the funniest question?
Oh, man. I take all questions seriously, Matt. So I didn't think any of them were funny. Yeah. No, there was a ton of different questions. And, you could sense people's heart in the questions. Like there was some questions that were like extraordinarily painful. And, some of those questions I'm like, oh man, how do we answer these on a Sunday morning in a way that is honoring, and giving enough time. And so that's why I mentioned early on that like we're not going to be able to get to all the questions, and in fact we have to push some of them into 2026 teaching calendar because they're just too big. People are really like they're wrestling with deep issues of faith and how does faith impact life and what's going on in our culture and how do I interact with that, and so many different things.
Well, I think what we're going to get into today is we're going to get into something that is very applicable wherever you are. We're literally going down into the marathon of Thanksgiving into Christmas. I mean,
don't forget New Year's.
Then my birthday.
And your
Everybody
birthday.
Everyone forgets my birthday.
That's a stressful day for me.
Middle child syndrome, scarred for life. It's forgotten. I understand. I mean, you told me when we were prepping for this, Santa already came to UTC. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, November 8th.
Well before Thanksgiving. So there's that. So, point. And Paige was telling me the other day, she was reading something, and she said that I could be totally wrong, and we're going to put this out in the public, but I'm just telling you I could be totally wrong.
Let's go. Fact checkers.
Thanksgiving is a $2 billion holiday a year.
Oh, I believe that.
What do you think Christmas is?
Ooh. If Thanksgiving is $2 billion, Christmas has to be $75 billion.
$80 billion.
Oh,
that's pretty close.
Pretty close. Yeah.
But I looked at that and I was like, wow, that's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of like chaos.
Yeah.
And then you get family that comes into the mix, holiday travel, all these flight cancellations.
Yeah.
There's so much chaos in it. And that's what we're going to jump into today is talking about peace. And what if peace doesn't show up after the chaos, but right in the middle of it? Like how do you navigate finding peace in a season that you were just totally out of control?
Yeah, we got this question from a couple people actually about navigating peace, because I think that everybody wants peace to be at the end of the problem, right? Like it's like that's going to be the solution, that once the problem's over, all of a sudden I feel peace. I don't know that I've really always felt that way. Like at the end of a problem, it doesn't equate peace. I might be through some of the issues, but there's so much baggage that comes along with what we just walked through. I mean, you think about health issues. I've walked through some health issues, and it's like, yeah, I want that moment to be over. Well, guess what? There's like months of getting back to feeling better. Yeah. So, peace is something that when we feel out of control, it could be anywhere. It could be in your job. It could be in your relationships, as you mentioned. It could be in a diagnosis. One of the first things that we've got to recognize is that peace, by definition, is not the absence of problems. That right there, if we can get our minds centered around that, we will do ourselves so much better. Now, for those of us that follow Jesus as our Savior, I think that peace shows up tremendously, because peace isn't the absence of your problems. It's the presence, the promised presence of your Savior.
Okay, so then walk us through that.
Right.
If someone's listening right now and they feel like their life's just completely on fire, practically, where do they start?
Yeah. Well, we start with Jesus again. Like everything comes back to him. Jesus in John 14:27, he says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you." Like, so if you just pause right there, there's more to that verse. But if you pause there and just say like, okay, peace I'm leaving with you. Like he's saying, I'm going to leave peace with you. I'm going to instill peace in you. And it's not just any kind of peace. It's my peace, which he's the Son of God.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty substantial. My peace I leave with you. He goes, this is why he can say this. So do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid. So peace isn't found in controlling what's around you. It's actually found in surrendering to the one who holds it all together anyway, to surrendering those things to God. You don't know the outcome. You can't.
Yep.
But when you surrender that and you invite Jesus into that moment, that's where peace is really, truly found.
So then give us a couple of the practical ways of surrendering that. What does that What does that look like?
Yeah, so we're going to do this kind of rapid fire. This question was one, like I said, it's been asked by a bunch of people. Here's some helpful tips. If you are looking for peace, and I'd encourage you to do three primary things. The first one,
I love it when it's broken down to like, here's three things. 1, 2, 3.
We just got to keep it easy, man.
I'm type A, so just give it to me straight.
Yeah. I had a seminary professor who used to say, like, let's just put the cookies on the lowest shelf, right?
That's my type of guy. That is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So the first thing that we got to do, if we want to find peace, is we have to pray instead of panic. This is something that at Hope City we talk about a good bit. Especially as we think about mental health and all these kinds of things. Panic can easily set in, and that can be our go-to. But what we should strive for is when that trigger hits, that it prompts us to pray. Philippians 4, 6 through 7, it says that when we bring everything to God, so when we bring these things to God in prayer with thanksgiving, so we're thanking God, but bringing it to him, he actually says that his peace, the peace that we just talked about, that doesn't even make sense, is going to guard your hearts and your minds. So instead of spiraling, mentally, emotionally, like even physically, like you can get sick to your stomach, start talking to God before you even hit those things. Like let the triggers that cause chaos in you actually drive you towards prayer. And I think it's amazing how much prayer will settle your spirit.
So how would you say then, I guess I'll tell kind of a personal story right now. So when I feel like I'm going through seasons or moments where things are a little bit chaotic, I look at God just wants you to take kind of that next step.
Yeah.
He doesn't need the, you hear the saying all the time, right? Like you don't need to get the whole flight of stairs. You just need to take that next step. And I'm reminded of the Israelites when they're in the wilderness and they're wandering and they're a bunch of complainers.
It's like my kids.
It's like, yeah, pretty much. I probably would have been too if I was them.
100%. Yeah.
But, they're like, we're hungry, right?
Right.
We're hungry. We're thirsty. You just leave us in Egypt to die. Like, it was better there. We had food.
Yeah. It's like every long road trip I've ever taken with kids. They're like, why did we do this? When will we get there?
That is so true.
When are we eating next?
Goodness gracious.
And can we stop? I got to go to the bathroom.
Oh, stop right there. Yeah. After you pass the rest stop.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm reminded of the Israelites and they're hungry. And so basically it's like, God's like, hey, I'm going to give you manna, but take what you need today.
Yep.
And what did they do? They took what they needed for a week.
Yeah.
And then it rotted.
Yeah. Well, because what does that reveal?
That they didn't trust.
Yeah, it's a heart issue.
It's a total heart issue. And I think, when I'm going through those seasons, my prayer it used to be like, God, fix the problem, right? Like peace is the absence of problems. That was my mentality behind it before, was peace is the absence of problems. So there's this problem. I need this problem to go away. So God, take this problem away, take this sickness away, take this away, rather than looking at what is God trying to form inside of me. Right. And now my prayers are shifted a little bit differently, where it's more like, all right, hey, God, just get me through this next meeting. Hey, give me the strength. I don't feel great today physically. I'm battling, sickness. Give me the strength that I need to get through today. It doesn't matter that I have clients coming into town at the end of the week, all the things that we like to get ahead of ourselves. But really the prayer is just that, of like, give me what I need for today.
Yeah. So actually, I'd love to interrupt you, because one of the things that you pointed out, so you threw back to the Israelites walking through the wilderness. The manna situation is they were facing what I would call a trigger. Hunger is a trigger, right? Like, I can't tell you the last time I was hungry, like truly hungry, right? Because I feed myself. You feed yourself, like we feed ourselves multiple times a day with choices and options.
Yeah.
Here they go into the wilderness. They've left at least what they knew to be home. Not that it was the right place to call home, but they left that. And they're entering into the wilderness and they're being faced by hunger every single day. And they're not seeing, how do you provide for 5-6 million people, right?
Yep.
And God said, I'm going to do it, but you've got to trust me in it. And where they went wrong was that when they felt triggered, they turned inward. And they're like, how am I going to solve this problem?
Control.
It's control. And when they should have just went back to God in prayer and God, I believe you that you're going to provide tomorrow again. And so I actually think that in the midst of that chaos, one of the first things we can do in prayer is pause and say, God, what are you inviting me to right now? Like, what's happening around me? Because sometimes I'm not even aware of what's happening around me. And I need to ask the Holy Spirit to help me understand, oh, you're feeling anxious because you're not trusting, and therefore, or you've tried to take this into your own hands. Yeah. So prayer, it's got to be the baseline before panic ever stirs us up.
Okay, so if number one is prayer, practicality, is pray instead of panic. What's number two?
Oh, it's easy. Two is once you start praying, now you've got to turn your worry into worship, or worship instead of worry. I like both versions. I like, turning worry into worship because it allows us to actually take the thing and not ignoring it. I think when we say that, sometimes people are like, "Oh, you just want us to sing a lot." No, I don't.
I mean, I do. When right, you guys listen right here.
Yeah, exactly.
I want you to sing on Sunday morning when we're singing. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm not looking for all of us to become like vocalists.
Yeah,
because worship is not just singing. It's actually allowing ourselves to put God in the right place. And so when we worship God, we're saying, you are above what I'm worrying about. And that's more important. Isaiah 26:3, it says that God keeps in perfect peace those whose mind is fixed on him. And so if we're talking about peace again, like if you want to be steady in peace, keep your mind fixed on God. One of the greatest ways to do that is just in worship. It's telling God who he is, what he's worth, and moving forward in that. I mean, you're the worship guy. Like, what do you think?
Right. It sounds cliche, and like it sounds like really, Matt, that's what I need to do during this chaotic season. But I would say putting on worship music in the background.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Even when you're not singing along, just having it in the background, you're literally letting scripture breathe into your house, into the airways, into your ears, into your subconscious mind, into everything. And rarely do you feel more stressed out after doing that.
Yeah. I've got this phrase that I've sort of adopted recently, actually. And it's that just because it's repeated doesn't mean it's right.
Break that down a little bit.
Yeah. So there are things that we put on repeat that are not right. Or we might hear things from people on repeat that are not right, that are not accurate. Like that's why we got to go back to what does God say about you? What does God's word say about you? What do you have to say about God? Like that's repeat the right things. And so when you say like I put worship on in the background, you're repeating the right things. You're actually changing what your mind is thinking about, and therefore you're correcting worry.
Right. No, that's good. I like that. And I know we put together for Hope City, we put together a whole worship playlist.
Yeah, we did.
That you can get on Apple Music,
Spotify,
all of the
Amazon,
all the things out there, which is great. So number one was in the mix of chaos, pray instead of panic. Two is worship instead of worry. Number three is we've got to, this one's, I want to break this down because you got to surrender instead of strive. I have learned in my own life that striving is an issue, because here's the way that I look at striving. Striving is forcing something to happen by your own strength. So I'll give you an illustration. When my kids were little, we had this toy. It was essentially just this little square box. Your kids may have had this. Like it's kind of a generational Jack in the Box. I mean,
no,
square box here.
No, those are creepy. So hopefully that's not part of the $80 billion of Christmas.
Not.
But anyway, so there was this toy and it had all of these different shapes. And it was about teaching kids shape recognition. It was about teaching kids like motor skills. And you dump these shapes on the ground. They would pick one of these little plastic things up and try and put it into the toy by lining it up with the right hole. Well, inevitably, in the early season of that, like before they're cognitively there and all this stuff, they're picking up these toys and they're just like mashing it into the box, and it's not fitting. And, some of the kids would just get like aggressive, first off, and then aggression turns to anger, and then it just despair, and they're just like wailing because this toy. I'm like, great, I brought all of this tears into my life because the toy doesn't work.
Peter.
Yeah, but that's what striving is, in my opinion. Striving is when we have created something in our mind that we want to accomplish, but God has not put his blessing on yet. And we're going to say, no, I'm going to do everything I can to, by my strength, to force this thing to happen. And that becomes a problem. And that's where, if we want peace, we're not going to strive, we're going to surrender. Surrender is not passive either. Surrender is actually saying, like, God, I'm going to allow you to be you, and I'm going to be me. I'm just going to do my part, but I'm going to trust you to do yours. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." I am not the master of the universe. I'm not even in control of my day. Like, that still part, that's surrender. That's where we're saying, God, I'm just going to surrender to you. God, I can't fix this, but I trust that you're in this.
Yeah. No, I think something that has been revealed to me, in my walk of faith has been, I like to force things to happen. Right.
Sure.
I think you do too.
Oh, yeah. We both three, type A personality, all that stuff. Yeah.
If we see a problem, we want to fix it.
Yep.
If we want to do something, when we want to do it to perfection, like we're both recovering perfectionists.
Yes, exactly.
For the rest of our lives. And so that right there, number 3, surrender instead of striving, that definitely hits a chord with me because I'm not great at that.
Yeah.
If I have to be completely honest.
Right.
I think in the early seasons of Hope City, of the life of our church, I was like, great, worship has to be this perfect thing.
Right.
We have to have the perfect response, the perfect set list, the perfect everything. And I'm going to force this to happen no matter what. Right?
How'd that work for you?
Not great. Yeah. And you're disappointed.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole time. And then I think there was probably a shift, probably around 2020 when we were beginning the building campaign. And I think I came to the realization of like, you know what? Like, it doesn't, the result doesn't matter.
Okay.
God isn't looking for a result.
Right.
God is looking for obedience.
Yep.
It's like when Saul went in and he, who was it? Basically, God's like, go in and kill everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like, kill everybody. And he saved a few things. He saved, I think, some livestock.
By the way, I hope that's not like the one clip that people pull out of this podcast.
Not too.
Go kill everything.
That would be hilarious, right?
That'd be taken out of context, friends.
Forever. But, and Saul comes back and he's like, God's like, hey, you didn't do what I told you to do.
Yeah.
And Saul's like, yeah, but I saved these things for you.
Right.
Like, it was very much a performance thing, but I did this and I kept these things saved for you. And God's like, I don't care about the performance of it, of what you did. I just asked for your obedience.
Right.
And so what I've learned in surrender is that God is not asking me to be responsible for the result of something that he's tasked me to do.
That's good.
He's asked me just to be obedient. And so I've always, told people in terms of, my role as the worship director at Hope City, no, I don't have a music degree and read music and classically trained or trained in all these other ways. I've just said, God has told me this is what you're going to do. And I'm going to do that as long as God tells me to do that. Like, that's just me being obedient to him. And then, in terms of growing teams and growing a band and other things like that, I was like, okay, God, like, we are going to do the best that we can with what we have.
Yeah.
In your mind, like you see what everybody else does, right? Like, we live in this social
culture, baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huge comparison culture. And we always look at validation from someone else and validation from other people's ideas. And so you can go see what Elevation Worship's doing, what Brandon Lake's doing, Maverick City, Chandler Moore, and you're like, oh, I want to be like that.
You know what's crazy though?
Yeah.
Is that there is a guy out there right now who's saying, but have you seen what Matt Leicht is doing?
Yeah, right.
No, they are. They're there.
I love
They're
that.
there because, and I'm telling this, and why I'm bringing this up is because you shared your heart on this, and I appreciate you being honest with that. And I struggle with the same things, right? Like I struggle with, we're a church plant, and we don't have all the this, that, and the other thing, and we are. Whatever, whatever the marker is.
Right.
But recently I was with some people and they got honest with me and they were like, dude, I look at your stuff and I'm like, I just want to be like that one day. And I was like, no, you don't. Right? Like, first off, but my point of bringing that up is that because we're in a comparison culture, the weird thing about that culture is that it only works one way. Typically, typically it's only who's ahead of us. Right. Why am I not like them? Versus actually just resting in the fact of who did God create you to be?
Yep.
And just be comfortable in that.
Right.
And so there are people that would love to be where you are.
Yeah.
And when we get a sense of that, I think it helps. I think it helps be rooted in peace and surrender.
Yeah. No, that's good. And these things, talking about peace, it's practical.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's necessarily easy.
Oh, it's definitely
right. Like, panic with the kid. Like, let me talk to young parents for a second. Okay. Because
talk to them.
Oh man, last night, the Lord was about to come in my house. Okay.
Hopefully he's already there, Matt, but yes.
Oh man, yeah. The wrath. No.
Okay. I see.
And it was, it's chaos. And so Paige is like an amazing mom.
Yeah.
The best. I wish I could be half of the parent that she is. And, she'll oftentimes encourage me, like, pray instead of panic. She's like, just pause and just pray for a second. And then, one of my kids is, off the walls, tantruming is what they, what happens. And she just prays out loud. She just starts praying out loud over them.
Casting out demons.
Basically. It's just like, but that's kind of like what she does. And what's cool is, like, I hope, like, my kids, when they're older, they see that.
Sure.
They see that, like, yeah, mom did this, dad did this, in the midst of some chaos. And we've even tried, like, in family situations that, being vulnerable with our kids. Like, here's something that happened in Daddy's day today. And this is how I did it, or, things like that.
Yeah, because what you're doing is you're modeling, and then you're creating a place for them, because we know that they will encounter chaos. They will encounter hard days. They will encounter situations that peace feels absent. And you're giving them something to look back on and say, okay, but I remember mom and dad, that in those moments that they would pray, they'd pray with us. We would have worship music on, and I don't know, it just seemed like they were okay with the outcome. Maybe they're not going to say surrender over strive, but they're going to be like, they were okay with what would come. Yeah. And so I think, like, just to kind of wrap this up, like, peace isn't about perfect circumstances. It's just about God's presence and remaining confident in him. So it's not, I'm going to have peace when everything's fixed. Yeah. It's not, I'll have peace because my problems went away. It's I'm going to have peace because Jesus is right there with me. Yep.
No, that's great. And I love that we were able to do this. And I know, since I have you, we're in the studio, we have all the stuff set up. Right? Why not use it again?
Right.
So we're going to do another episode.
Yeah.
And this episode, when you sent me some of the notes to it, I was excited. I wrote a bunch of notes.
Okay.
So good. I can't wait for us to jump into this. So make sure you guys come back, listen to the next episode, because it's going to help you,
I hope so,
dramatically through this season right now.
Yeah, exactly. The holidays are coming.
That's right.
So let's get ready.